You're still watching the City of Lagos TV show. And of course, it is very critical at this point in time to take a look at the very significant achievements of Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, especially in the area of infrastructural development for a greater Lagos, in line with the theme's agenda. Today, we're going to be speaking with the special advisor to the governor on works and infrastructure. I'm talking about Engineer Aramide Adeyoye. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Peters.
Now, quickly, the team's agenda is clearly stated out. And of course, to a large extent, the governor, with his cabinet, has been able to interpret the spirit behind the team's agenda. But very importantly, infrastructure. The government has practically turned the city of Lagos into a construction site. And all is in the bid to bring the dividends of democracy to Lagosians. But at this point in time, Lagosians would like to know what are the major significant impactful achievements so far in this area.
For us, we believe that government is a continuum, and that if you take up something, you come into government, you see a project that is going to meet the yearnings and desires of the people, and is really going to have socio-economic benefits, then it's just good for you to go on with it. And that saw us completing a very impactful project, which was the Penn Cinema. You recollect that Penn Cinema was at 20% stage when we got in, and we decided as the government that this speaks to our team's agenda. Finishing it will be of great benefit, and we pursued it with vigor, and we finished. That project this year was commissioned. Teddy Mowo Bridge is also one of the bridge that had started during the era of Governor Fashola. And then we finished it. I think the road is about 130 meters, and then it ends in a car park, and then with a jetty. So Waterfront took up the jetty construction site, and the Ministry of Works took on the award of the road together with the car park. Ditto also the 31 network of roads in Ojokoro and the bridges that goes to Lagos outer boundary. First, we introduced stability. We looked at the arterials and then told ourselves, what must we do differently to have a sustainable road? Roads like Ikorodu Road in its entirety, from the market area in Mile 12 all down to Odoyalaro, we turned them into rigid pavements in areas where they clearly had drainage issues. We looked at Lekki-Epe Expressway. Given the expansion that we'll have coming out from the refinery, we thought it was only wise for us to expand that road. But then, what kind of vehicles, articulated trucks, would you be expecting to come on it, given that average daily traffic volume counts that you get there and the loadings? So we changed them into rigid pavement, and then I had a dedicated lane for the truck. It's an 18-month duration job, and as I speak today, the contractor is already at 60% stage. The regional road as well, the large diameter board piles at the VGC end. As at 3 days ago, they have actually done about 28 of them. The additional was probably what has been done between the last 3 days and now. All of those ones are projects that are intended to decongest major arterials, Lekki Expressway, and possibly for the future. But all in all, we look at the strategic transport master plan for Lagos, and we see where all of the intermodal transport system will actually connect. So roads that will lead to jetties are priorities. So we'll look at roads like Obashekumade. Obashekumade will lead to Pakodo Jetty, so that people can then learn to use the waterways. We're trying to provide Lagosians with alternative means of transport so that everybody is not on the roadway, make other modes of transport safer, particularly with the waterways.
What is the position of the rail project, the Blue Line? How far has work gone?
The Blue Line and the Red Line. The Red Line is the initiative of this government. We were creative in its funding, so we have dedicated infrastructure funds towards that project. The other day, you had people, inspectors from CBN coming because they wanted to see what exactly we're doing, and they clearly said it. They gave a pass mark to say we're very much on course. They can actually see what we're doing and what we're using these funds for. The Ikeja work is going on well. Last week, that was usually about the gas. In a city like Lagos, the mappings of utilities are there. La Simra, one of the agencies under us, we actually have the layouts. But in doing this work from time to time, you cannot rule out one or two near miss. But as much as possible, you have your quality assurance plans are there in the event that anything happens that you can mitigate against such happenings. So for Ikeja, you have Ikeja bus stop, you have Ikeja Long, and then you go through Agege. So there are different bus terminals. The whole idea is you want to grade separate the rail from the vehicular traffic. So where you have that interference, you try to go with an overpass and grade separate. And then you have your connecting bridges that if you come on your BRT lane or bus ride, you stop at the bus station, you go up, you connect down to whatever train station that you are going. Well, you have your rail line already going, passing through.
For projects like this, it's going to take up huge financial expenses. Is there a PPP arrangement for most of these infrastructural developments?
Lagos deserves a special status because it's the burden bearer. What we need to do, and that's what we have done. So we've gone in as a subnational, we've done a mix of the bond, and then we did some funding with the cash reserve ratios, got some banks, and tried to do a dedicated. So every time that you see the banks say they have excess liquidity, and then you mop it up. When you mop it up, what do you use it for? You can actually dedicate it to some infrastructure project. The red line is one typical one that we have dedicated to. PPPs is also another way that you can do, and that's what we see us going through on the Fort Mainland Bridge. Other alternative forms of funding that we have also creatively done is to look at the private partnership infrastructure improvement program that we have, where you get large corporates decide that they want to adopt a road and then take it on. And it's not new. We've done it before. Ajose Adeogun was a road that Zenith Bank adopted many years ago. And so they're also trying now to adopt another road in Lekki, Murphy Adetoro Road. This is something on their purview now. We're in the process of closing out on that. We've also had Access Bank come up to say, network of roads in Orinu Circle. They've done that and we've proved it in the circulation that you have in 4 Points, Hotel Sheraton in Oniru. It's fantastic now. And just like the corporates like Access, you've also had the insurance custodian take on Church Street by Sabo. They took up that road as well, and then they fixed it. So Access Bank is also looking up to taking up more roads, and that's why I appeal to other large corporates to say, we can do this business together. All we do as a ministry is we'll set the standards, we'll regulate it, we'll tell you, these are the roads, this is the cross-section, this is our plan. We also look into the future to say, given these volumes of traffic, given the growth that we expect, this is what is going to work, and then we'll tell you, this is the cross-section that works for Lagos, and this is what you must build on. So I think those are some of the things that we've done creatively to fund.
What is the extent of involvement of local construction companies or firms in the development of Lagos?
Locals have been involved extensively in the construction of roads in Lagos. Where we have the requisite competencies and skills by the indigenous, we'll take on the indigenous contractors. But when we see that the nature and the complexity of the project is one that they will require collaboration with the counterparts, then we decide that we'll have a mix. Connecting roads like Ogudu Link Road is being handled by Messrs. FCC, that's a local contractor. The contractor on Demuri, Alakpere, Church, they're local contractors. Lagos Water Boundary was handled by a local. Tedimowo Down was handled by a local. The extension of it also is a local. So only in few instances would you have a multinational coming to say, so where you know that the skills are not there. But otherwise, we engage locals to a large extent.
SA, can you tell us what are the challenges and how have you been able to surmount them?
The challenges come in several forms. First is capacity. When we came on board, one of the first things that we told ourselves was we needed to improve on the way we do our monitoring and supervision of our projects. So the quality assurance, we institutionalized the process of placing some measures. So what did we then do? We had the approval of EXCO to say, okay, what exactly do we need to do? Our SOPs, what will be our standard operating procedures in this ministry? That people then know, even as contractors, you know what is expected of you. Even for the engineers, what exactly do they require? Where capacity needs to be upgraded, what exactly would we do? So that's in the last 2 years, most of the engineers in the ministry go through some form of training, either here or in the Public Works Corporation. For the Public Works Corporation, what we have done also is to ensure that citizenry, they begin to believe in the products that come out from there. So we did a turnaround maintenance on the plant, which had not been done in 10 years. The last 2 years, the kind of asphalt that you see around lasts longer. Also the R&D, what kind of products they can produce, whether they can produce cold mix that we can use during the rainy season. All of those products, we've tried to improve on them, and they can do all of those. Ditto also the engineers in Ministry of Works, and then also pricing mechanisms, and then also for the procurement as well. Capacity development for the engineers in monitoring and supervision, and the quality assurance that we have put in place. And then when they know what you stand for, that you like to do things excellently well, everybody begins to conform. So contractors begin to realize that it's not business as usual. We need to get these things right once and for all and get it done. Because it is in the city, so also it is in Alausa. We are termed a smart ministry. you cannot be a smart ministry if you are not responsive to the needs of the environment. So every engineer wants to work in an atmosphere that is conducive for working, and that has seen us try to expand like an annex because of the pressure of land in Alausa complex. So subject to funding, retrofit this that your foundation can actually go 4 floors. But you can see the construction work. So we've done the casting up to the 1st floor. We're trying to get that complex ready, the annex, so that our engineers can be decentralized. They can move into more conducive atmosphere space. The building opposite, the large complex, the multi-agency opposite, so that has been under construction for the last 8 to 10 years. But as a government, we told ourselves, let us sectionally complete this so that some ministries or MDAs can move in. As I speak, work is ongoing there, and I know that hopefully by end of 1st quarter next year, at least some of those agencies will move. As is happening in multi-agency, so also is happening in Revenue House. Revenue House also has 4 wings of units in the complex. So wings A, B, C, and D. So what we're simply trying to do is to try to get wings A and C to be finished so that the revenue collecting arm of government, mainly LIRS and other revenue generating agencies, the one-stop shop for ease of doing business, the lottery board, the lotto, all of them, all the revenue agency generating agencies can move into that complex. That's why it's called Revenue House, because they are responsible for generating revenue. So, so their furnishing is already ongoing, and I know that by end of the year, they can all move in there. So that's one of the strategies that we decided, if you cannot finish all, sectionally complete. And we're working towards that assiduously. LTV8 is one good example where you see infrastructure upgrade that is ongoing there as I speak. The Ministry of Health has been, you can see that it's carrying on a new column that is environmentally friendly and that can minimize even cost of painting yearly. It's even in the Ministry of Works. So you've seen a lot of innovation here. The lifts has been changed. For many years, the staircases that was not fit for purpose, we're actually designing that now so that it becomes a template for other ministries, so that at least even when your lifts don't work, the staircases are easy to climb and then fit for purpose.
Is it a deliberate policy to try to take up all these projects at the same time?
Yes, Lagos is now a construction village, but unknown to many, most of this construction work also is coming also on the federal side. You recollect that the Third Mainland Bridge was under construction this year. A lot of infrastructure decay are taking place. And so as a state, we are happy when the federal government says, this is when we have money to come and fix it, and then this is when we want to do it. So we have to accommodate the needs as requested by the federal government to fit into the program of Lagos State as well. And it's coinciding with the time that we are also doing our own construction work. So we have to marry all of them. And that's why always, each time I appeal to Lagosians that it's you know, when you have an intended view, and you know where you're going. Sometimes the pain is there, but at the end of the day, I think we'll get to the destination. So to the citizen who do not understand it, it looks like, why is it that they're taking up all? Not all of it is being undertaken by the state government. Some of them are from the federal side, and some of them are from us.
At this point in time, what's your word of encouragement and assurance to Lagosians and all stakeholders?
First and foremost, have belief in us. Whatever we plan that we'll start and we'll say we'll do, we'll finish. Apart from having that belief, is a sense of ownership. Lagosians must learn to take ownership of this infrastructure whenever it is provided. Because invariably, this is your money, my money. When you see it, it actually bleeds the heart. So for me, it's about that ownership. It's important. It's actually the beginning and end of everything that we're doing.
Well, it's been a wonderful time speaking with the Special Advisor to the Governor on Works and Infrastructure. The City of Lagos TV show will continue right after this time out. Stay tuned.